Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat. Resolves.
Right.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Hello everyone, my name is DJ and you're watching the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. Today we have an exciting top 10 list. It is the top 10 X spells in Commander. At number 10, we have to decipher what is the best X-based removal spell out there. Well, there's a few of them that are in contention. Curse the Swine is X blue. You get to exile X target creatures and they turn into little 2/2 boars. This is good because it's exile, it's in blue, and those boars are so cute. But it's got to measure up against a card like Martial Coup. This is a board wipe. If you sink enough mana into Martial Coup, you get an excellent board wipe that leaves behind several bodies, and it can get pretty big and pretty threatening. But as far as board wipes go, I don't like conditional ones that cost this much mana. I want them to be more efficient in my deck. And so I don't think Martial Coup measures up against another card like Pest Infestation. Pest Infestation is X green for a sorcery, destroy up to X target artifacts and or enchantments, create twice X 1/1 black and green pest creature tokens with, when this creature dies, you gain 1 life. So Pest Infestation takes the number 10 slot here because I'm not giving you boars, I'm getting adorable, cute little pests. I like pests better than soldiers, and you can create them at just as good a rate as Martial Coup. I know board wipe is pretty powerful, but being able to pick off specific artifacts and enchantments is exactly what I want in a lot of decks. Pest Infestation, you're awesome, and you guys should be playing this card. Next up at number 9, we know we need a Hydra for this top 10 list, right? I mean, that is the X creature type. And so let's pick the best one with Hydroid Krasis. X green blue for a 0/0 jellyfish Hydra beast. When you cast this spell, you gain half X life, draw half X cards, you got a round down. It's got flying and trample and gets X +1/+1 counters on it. Hydroid Krasis has seen play in tons of different formats. It is everywhere and it shows because gaining life and drawing cards helps you stabilize, and this big creature can help you beat down. This is exactly what you want in a big game of Commander 2. Moving on, we have another creature that fulfills its role perfectly. At number 8, we've got Mikaeus the Lunarch. X and a white for a legendary human cleric. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. You can tap to put a +1/+1 counter on Mikaeus. You can tap to remove a +1/+1 counter and put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. Mikaeus is super flexible. In the early game, you can play it and just keep tapping it to build up its own power. In the late game, you can sink a bunch of mana into it. If your board is big, then you can tap it, take those counters off, and pump up your whole team. It can be big by itself, it can grow itself, it can help you go wide and pump up your team. It does a little bit of everything. And I also love that it's a 1-drop. And it's a 0/0, easily tutorable by a bunch of other things in white, whether you're searching for something low toughness or low power, or whether you're searching for a 1-drop with like Ranger Captain of Eos or Ranger of Eos. So this is a really solid card in a lot of different white decks. At number 7, we gotta give a shout out to Earthquake, X and a red for sorcery, deals X damage to each creature without flying and each player. It's a classic, but if I have to pick my own favorite Earthquake variant, it's gotta be Subterranean Tremors. X and a red for sorcery, deals X damage to each creature without flying. If X is 4 or more, destroy all artifacts. Oh, huge. If X is 8 or more, I get an 8/8 red lizard creature token. Subterranean Tremors is a great way to get rid of the board, including all of those pesky artifacts. Number 6 on our list might be the most powerful, but it's one of the most boring. We've got a tie for Exsanguinate and Torment of Hailfire. These are the ways to end games in black when you have a lot of mana, and they're not exciting. They're everywhere. You've died to it, I've died to it, I've killed people with it. So let's move on to some more exciting and interesting X spells with number 5 on the top 10 X spells is Genesis Wave. X, green, 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 reveal the top X cards in your library. You may put any number of permanent cards with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield. And that's it. So you sink a ton of mana to this, you just start turning over huge portions of your deck, getting creatures, planeswalkers, artifacts, enchantments, lands. I love that you get lands with Genesis Wave. You know, Genesis Wave is the more powerful card of this effect, but there is one more that's a little bit more interesting, and you know what? I'm going to give it the number 5 slot. It's Villainous Wealth. X, black, green, blue. Target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana costs. So you don't get any lands because you don't cast lands, but you do get those instants and sorceries. And you get your opponent's deck. So inherently it's less powerful because you've built your deck around having a bunch of permanents and Genesis waving off. But man, stealing your opponent's stuff is just so satisfying. Villainous Wealth takes the spot. You know, I feel this list wouldn't be complete without a classic fireball effect, but I've gone with a very modern version of it. It is Expansion Explosion. Expansion is it, copy target instant or sorcery spell, mana value 4 or less. You can choose new targets for the copy. The explosion side is that X spell. X blue, red, deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards. The reason why I love Expansion Explosion is Commanders because it's so useful in so many different situations. A classic fireball doesn't do anything until you have an insane amount of mana. What are you gonna do? Like, hit someone's face for 4 or kill a creature? Yeah, that's some flexibility, but in general, just think of expansion. Copying someone's ramp spell, copying your own card draw spell, that has a lot of value in it. And then of course, Explosion. Explosion is huge, allowing you to kill exactly what you need to, hopefully a player, and then draw enough cards that you are set up to win the game afterwards. Or if you have enough mana, why don't you kill one player by damage and another player by decking them out? Expansion Explosion works in so many different ways. It is that level of flexibility that makes Expansion Explosion number 4 on my list. Now we're into the top 3 X spells. I've got to find some ways to cheat things onto the battlefield. Yes, Genesis Wave and Villainous Wealth do a great job, but I think I'm looking at War of Invention next. X blue for an instant improvise. Search your library for an artifact card with mana value X or less and put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. There are so many combo-oriented artifacts out there, powerful artifacts out there, and you can cheat them into play so quickly and efficiently, specifically because this has improvise. You don't always have to have infinite mana to be able to get this to work. You can just play this and get exactly what you need onto the battlefield. Even though War of Invention takes the number 3 slot, I've got to give a shout out to Wargate. It is so narrow because you need to be in Bant, but Wargate is X green, white, blue for sorcery. Search your library for a permanent card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield. I love this just being a 3 mana, get a land on the battlefield. Just any land, utility land, something important like Gaia's Cradle or something like that. Or you start sinking more mana into it, you get planeswalkers and artifacts and enchantments. It just feels really flexible with getting exactly what you want onto the battlefield. The problem is that this mana cost makes it inflexible, not fitting into very many decks. Number 2 on the list is Walking Ballista. Walking Ballista is XX for 0/0 artifact creature construct. When it enters the battlefield, it gets X +1/+1 counters on it. You can pay 4 mana to add a +1/+1 counter to it and remove a +1/+1 counter from Walking Ballista to deal 1 damage to any target. So Walking Ballista wins the game with infinite mana. Wins the game with infinite mana even if it's on the battlefield. That's key. Sometimes you need to hold on to these X spells until you have the right amount of mana. Walking Ballista can go down and threaten to get bigger every single turn. It's pretty compelling. It's an artifact for things that search for artifacts. It's a creature for things that search for creatures. It's a 0 mana cost, so that Ranger of Eos or that Ranger Captain of Eos also fetch it. It's a 0/0, so all of the other things fetch it. It is so many different ways to get it and get it onto the battlefield. And of course, it combos. It combos with infinite mana, like I already mentioned, but it also combos with Heliod, Suncrowned. So Walking Ballista is threatening in so many different ways and flexible in a ton of different ways. It's the winner for number 2. But you're all here to find out what the number 1 spell is, and the number 1 spell is Finale of Devastation. Finale of Devastation is X green for sorcery. Search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with mana value X or less. Put it onto the battlefield. Simple creature tutor, fine. There's a lot of things out there that can get creatures onto the battlefield, nothing that special. But if X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X and gain haste until end of turn. Whoa, so now Finale of Devastation, if you have enough mana, becomes just an easy win condition. Just gets exactly what you want, gives it haste, pumps everything, and suddenly you've created your own Craterhoof Behemoth. That's insanely powerful. So it gets what you want early on, and then it wins the game in the late game. This flexibility is incredibly powerful. And no wonder it's above $40 for this card already. I hope you enjoyed the top 10 X spells. Let me know in the comments down below what X spells I left out, what crazy order I put them in. Give me all of your comments down below. I want to thank Cool Stuff Inc. for sponsoring the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. If you use the coupon code JUMBO5, you'll save 5% off your order. I also want to thank my patrons. They support this channel every single day. Thank you, patrons, and thank you for watching this video. Hope to catch you guys really soon. Bye-bye.